The Habs lose in the shootout this time, so it was a 1-goal game against the Columbus Blue Jackets. I think their last score was 4-3 with the shootout winner. And what is now the fourth consecutive loss in a row? We lost against LA, we lost against Dallas, we lost against Boston, and now we lose against the Blue Jackets. So we have put on 4 losses in a row. Even though it was our 4th loss in a row, I don't feel too bad about it. Hear me out. I know there were some really bad parts, but there were some really good parts too, and stuff that was encouraging to watch after having seen some of the worst games that the Habs had played in the last year. And yeah, that counts, like calendar year. So hear me out. We did see the return of Lane Hudson, who had experienced a couple bad games here and there. Okay, Kitty, that's enough. Owie, that hurts. Had experienced a couple bad games especially against Dallas. He had a pretty bad game, and against Boston, he was not noticeable when he usually is. Yesterday against the Blue Jackets, he was very, very noticeable. Like, you could notice every time he was on the ice, both offensively and defensively. Dude was giving it his all every single shift. Like, every shift he was playing like if it was his last shift in the NHL. And that's what you want to see from a player like Hudson, who has massive talent, but honestly, what drives him most, apart from his talent, is his work ethic. So I don't know what it was. Like, he wasn't playing poorly or anything against like in those games that he didn't shine too much. It was just he wasn't shining. Simple as that. Where we've been used to seeing him shine, right? Like giving it his all and whatnot. I don't know if it was a change in the game plan that he was trying to adjust to, or what exactly it was, but it was nice to see him back to what we've seen from him before. So he gets an assist and a goal, and honestly, it was great defensively. A lot of effort defensively. He had good sticks here and there. He was probably the best player on the ice. I also really like seeing Slafkovsky play. So he gets put on the second line with Kapanen and Demidov. So it's that line that averages like 21 years of age, I think it is, they were saying. And then Bolduc gets put on the first line. And I honestly like that shuffling on paper, because without Duck, which, by the way, very, very unfortunate news, Duck out for 4 to 6 weeks. At least it's not season ending, but Duck needs games. He's been playing great, honestly, given how little he has played the last few years. He was playing great. He's a big guy that puts himself out there to block shots, though. So one of those, I don't know exactly which one must have gotten to him. So unfortunate. He was getting better. Anywho, so without Doc, we need to shuffle some lines, right? To have them all, be more equal, more paired, more having them all be a threat on the ice, so they don't just stack up against our first line and then we don't have anything going, which is kind of what happened, because Columbus put a really good line against our first line, which had Zach Bolduc, Caulfield, and Suzuki, and that line did not get to do much. I don't think it is fully 100% the fact that they didn't have Slafkovsky on that line anymore. I think it is that they were playing against a really good line, and our second line of Kapanen, Demidov, and Slafkovsky got to shine because of that, and because Slav was now carrying that line, and we got to see that. We got to see Slav on a more proactive role instead of a supportive role, which he usually plays in that Suzuki Caulfield line. He was keeping the puck on his stick. He was making things happen, and that was actually great to see. He was collecting the puck, giving it to Demidov and Kapanen, and then when he had the puck on his stick, he was not just dishing it out immediately to a rushing Suzuki or Caulfield. He was actually looking up, seeing what the plays were, keeping the puck on his stick when it was necessary, carrying up to the middle of the ice, and like he was generating stuff. That first goal that we got, that it was Kapanen from Matheson and Demidov. Slavkovsky doesn't get an assist, but most of the play was his. Like, he is the one that kept recovered the puck and started moving it around to throw off the Blue Jackets defenders, and then passes it to Demidov, who is coming back, and then Demidov dishes it to Matheson, and Matheson puts it on Kapanen's stick in a beautiful pass, beautiful shot, really nice goal. But all of that came from Slav. That third tying goal, Slav is there in front of the net, which is something we did not have against Boston at all. And that we all were like, if we're gonna have a 5-on-3, put someone in front of the net, cover the goalie, so you get all the shots, you have all the lanes, right? We were all shouting that, and now we have Slav in front of the net, and Hudson gets a goal out of it. So nice to see a Slav carrying a line, being able to carry a line, albeit against not the best, not the opposing team's best defensive lines, because our first line was battling against that line. I did not like what I saw from Bolduc, though. I don't think that was his best game. I don't think that's everything he can give in that first line role. I think if you give him a couple more chances, maybe he'll adapt a little bit better. And again, I don't know how much it was from Slav not being there, but our first line struggled. I don't know if they would have struggled exactly the same with Slav there, just because who they were facing. But the few shifts that we got to see in the third period with Slav back in the first line, they were able to generate more. So I'm thinking it was mostly the lack of Slav there, which is nice. As a Slav supporter, I kind of feel validated a little bit of like, yeah, this guy is actually the one that gels that line together, that makes things happen. Without him, you have two really good playmakers and shooters, but they cannot keep possession of the puck. And even though Bolduc was trying, he was not at the level that Slav is for puck retrieval and board battles, right? I again liked or didn't mind what I saw from Jakai. He got a couple shots on goal. He kept possession of the puck. He didn't give any blunders. So again, a pretty solid game from him. Struble, I think same boat-ish. Maybe one or two mistakes that I saw, but I can't remember. They were not egregious. Joshua Roy, he was not bad per se, but he kind of gave Columbus the Fantilli goal. Fantilli was his guy. He was not able to tie his stick. Ends up being a goal. You cannot allow a guy in front of the goal to shoot 2-3 times like that. So sadly for a while, oh my god, Roy, there you go. He did not perform as you'd expect from a guy that's just been called up, that has been struggling every time you see him in the NHL. He did have a couple shifts here and there that were okay offensively, but defensively you expect more from a quote-unquote cerebral high IQ guy, because that's what we see, or that's what we've been sold that who Joshua Roy is, right? More not super fast, not great shot, etc., but very smart with his positioning and puck with poke checks, stuff like that. But for a guy that's supposed to be touted for his positioning in that goal against, that was not the best, So hopefully he's going to have more opportunities, because Dak and Newhook are both out for longish term, especially Newhook. So I think he's going to stay there until he either proves that he does not belong in the NHL or until Dak comes back. Hopefully it's the latter and not the former, because I would like to see him have a decent chance, and this is his chance. Hopefully he makes the best out of it. Speaking of making the best out of chances, Jared Davidson, pretty good again. I was pleasantly surprised from what I saw from him against Boston, and I'm again pleasantly surprised of what I saw against the Blue Jackets here. Like, he's not the biggest guy, but like, he's very physical. He goes to the net. He got a couple chances here and there. He made a few plays. He was not not noticeably bad defensively. Again, I struggle to notice when someone is bad defensively unless it's like egregiously bad. So take that with a grain of salt. But I didn't see him like egregiously bad defensively. So I enjoy what I saw from him. Yeah. And what else was I going to say about him? Even though he didn't play much in the third period, like that whole line didn't play much in the third period. When Slav got pushed to the top line again, I think both Olaf, Davidson, Veleno, and Bolduc did not see the ice anymore. Well, so the ice like one more shift after our second goal. That's about it. So like we started just playing Suzuki, Caulfield, and Slav like a lot more. Like they had so many long shifts. Also with stacking Hudson and Dobson, I really like when we do that. I know it's not the best defensively, but when we need a push, stacking both Dobson and Hudson, yeah, it's pretty nice to see because we were able to keep the puck. And Hudson was not, I'm talking again about Hudson here, but he was not hesitating to pinch up, which I think it was something he was hesitating with before. And I think it's mostly because our forwards were not covering. And he pinched a few times this game where forwards were not covering and he still pinched up. I don't know if Martin would just told him like go up if the forward did not cover, is the forward's fault, or what it was. It's nice that all the pinches that he did worked out for him. He was able to either keep the puck or stop it enough so the forwards would be able to cover his spot. But if he does that and he doesn't get a puck or the player and they just get past him, it's a pretty decent chance you're gonna get a 2-on-1 or 2-0 against you, right? So risky plays, but yeah, that's what Hudson shines at. So it worked out for him this game. Hopefully the forwards remember now that they need to cover for the pinching defenseman, because that's what has been working for us to keep the cycle going. Like, we need our defensemen to pinch up if we want to keep the cycle going. We cannot have all three of our forwards be the only ones trying that, because it just doesn't work. Every time we were able to keep the cycle going was because of one of our defensemen pinch up, and then we were able to retrieve the puck and keep it rotating, And that's when we generated most of our chances. If both our defensemen are keep back because all three of our forwards are like super deep into the opposing zone, it just doesn't work. Like our forwards are not able to keep the puck in the offensive zone by themselves, So yeah, it was nice to see from Hudson. Risky. I did see a few times that I was like, hopefully it works, and it worked every time. So very nice, but might shoot himself on the feet next time if it doesn't work out 100%. Anyways, what else was I gonna say? Even though Jaka and Struble played decent, they did not see the ice much on the third period. Like after our second goal, they just were not on the ice for much, which is understandable. Like, you want to stack, you're losing, right? You want to stack up your best defensemen to get the best chances of scoring. So Hudson saw a lot of ice, Dobson saw a lot of ice, etc., etc. Yeah, I think that's everything I have. I didn't mind the play by Davesh. I think one of the goals he definitely wants back. I think it was the one that was it the power play goal? I think it was the power play goal that we got scored on. That he kind of like stopped it, but he didn't have his stick like very stable, so he just kind of like went in, Or no, that was the shootout goal, right? Yeah, I think it was a shooter goal. But one of the goals also was like, maybe you want your goalie to have that one. I forget which one it was. Anyways, he did not have any crazy good saves though. And the Greaves, the goalie for the Blue Jackets, had some really good saves. So like, if I'm just going off the wow factor, they're like, oh my god, what a save. I think the Blue Jackets goalie Greaves played a better game. You know, we had a few chances where I was like, that's for sure gonna go in, and somehow he got a save. Whereas I didn't see Dobish pulling out any of those. You know, maybe we were just better defensively. I don't think so. But yeah, anyways. So even though it's our 4th loss in a row, I saw a little bit of the light again. You know, like a little bit of the things that we had been doing great at the start of the season. We did great again. Obviously not good enough, but step in the right direction. So like I said, I'll give this team a little bit of slack because yes, even though they were really good to begin the season, we all knew it was going to regress a little bit. It's just how long you regress, how much you let it slide, and how much you learn from everything and how much you adapt, right? So they're starting to adapt. Sadly, we did not see any power plays, so we haven't seen any of the changes there. Hopefully, you know, they've been practicing. Now our next game is on Thursday against the Capitals at Montreal. So we have all of Tuesday and Wednesday off, on Thursday also, to practice hopefully the power play and all these other things that have been plaguing us. So we'll see. Capitals are again a pretty big team. They have not been their best version of themselves like we saw last year, I don't think. But if we keep our struggles, we're definitely going to struggle in that one. Like, they're not an easy team to play against. So you know, hopefully we get to keep on improving, keep on taking steps in the right direction to get back to our groove that we had at the beginning of the season. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this one. I'll see you guys after the Capitals game on Thursday. Go Habs, go!